This is The Ball Don't Lie. I'm Theo Robinson.
Frank Newblake.
And we've got a special guest, JOBI MCANUFF. Well, I wasn't going in there and say his middle names, but I just thought, nah, leave it.
What is his middle name?
Joshua Frederick Melvin.
It's my grandparents' name, so I don't know if you want to keep coming for me on that.
I'm not coming for you, but
cool.
I'm just saying, you played 720 games, if you don't know, and scored 75. It's quite good going, 38 years old. He's a player coach for Leyton Orient. Good friend, good guy.
Right, Joe, them stats actually shocked me that you've played that many games. Not because of your ability or anything like that, but to play over 700 games is a great feat. Is that something you're proud of, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, I've been lucky to achieve certain things in my career, and when I look back on it, when I'm finally finished, whenever that is, I'll appreciate those moments, whether it be the promotions and debuts and goals. But for me,
how many you had?
a couple, man.
Two.
Couple, yeah.
I've done my research. We're going to that a bit later.
How many you had?
Huh? I've had two.
He's had non-league promotions.
No,
they don't count.
One non-league, one League Two, and then the Watford one.
Relax, you don't have to defend it. Non-league is all right, man. It's not a problem.
Hey, I'll get you.
Relax,
We've got playoffs soon.
I know, I haven't got a medal. It's fine.
I'll get you a medal.
Yes, all right.
3 games,
cool.
and I'll get you a medal.
Thank you. All right, you've had a couple of promotions.
Still got a chance. Yeah. But yeah, I think the amount of games I played, for me, that's what it's about. Like playing on a Saturday night, Tuesday night, trying to win 3 points for your team, all the training that goes into it, the dedication. For me, it's about that match day, and to think I've played as many games as I have is certainly something I'm very proud of. Yeah,
that's legendary, isn't it?
That's a joke. We obviously spoke to a player now Ranger. He's not even played 200 games, so 700 games is a lot of games, man. That's something to be massively proud of. Obviously, I know you're still going, but obviously you got a role as well at Leyton Orient on the staff side as well. Tell me the first few weeks of feelings of how that transition was for you and your family.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was obviously strange. Unfortunately, it came off the back of some horrible circumstances. Obviously losing Justin Edinburgh, what a guy. And we'd spoken about at some point in the future me moving into that side of things, obviously with the view that he would still be there. And so it's definitely something that was on my mind and something I wanted to get into. Obviously that process got accelerated, and obviously with us as a club trying to keep things as tight-knit as we could in them circumstances, it was obviously a chance for me to join the coaching side, and I love it, man. It's again, I think being captain and being a senior player, you take on certain responsibilities anyway, and for me it was probably just a little step forward from what I was doing anyway. I was very lucky at the time to have 2 actual coaches, obviously Ross Embleton, Danny Webb, 2 very, very good coaches. So my role was from that side of things, really backing them up, maybe taking a bit of the smaller bits. I love doing the one-on-one stuff, individual stuff, forward work, going out with the young lads, stuff like that, which I really, really enjoy. But it was really good for me last year because I was injured. It's actually the first season I've missed pretty much the whole time. So to have the coaching to focus on, because obviously you guys know what it's like, being injured is a hard time, and especially for someone who, again, going back on those stats, I've been very lucky that I haven't had a lot of injuries that have enabled me to play those games.
Of course,
so the coaching gave me a real nice focus and something else to think about, and again, it's something I really, really enjoy doing.
To be fair, you got the voice of a captain and a coach, unbelievable voice.
Mate, this is what I said to you before. I said off camera before. Have you had media training? Because
the voice is.
He knows.
It's like I'm just listening to him. Like, yeah, you're right.
Captain at Reading, captain Jamaica.
Yeah.
Captain at Leyton
I'd like
Orient.
to think people would listen to me.
No. I'm just saying. Obviously, you had a great experience and whatnot.
Yeah.
But obviously, people who have never heard you speak or stuff like that, you come across anyway like a guy that you're open.
Yeah,
you like to speak
you listen to him because as you said,
and coaches.
It's funny you say that because I've played with some captains that want to shout all the time. They want to, and sometimes the messages can get lost. That information in terms of what you're saying, that's one big thing. And I've been lucky that I've played with some really good captains and captains that weren't necessarily like shouters and screamers, but when they do talk, everyone's like, right, skip saying something. You know what I mean? That's certainly something I've tried to replicate and take into, not just when I'm a captain, because I'm a believer in more than just one captain. I've been lucky to captain teams, but 100%. I think that's one thing we're losing, definitely in the game. And I think we're going away from the whole, Terry Butcher, John Terry, one-man army kind of stuff. You know, for me, the best teams I've been in, the most successful teams, there's been 6 of us, 7 of us that, you know, I might need a day where I'm like, I'm tired, I might be injured, I might be carrying something, and I can't be that driving force every single day. And then the lads see that. So the one who's next to me, he'll step up and take over, and we kind of vibe off each other like that. So for me, that's an important thing of building any squad, and I think it's a massive part of development that we actually don't focus on as much as we need to. You know, I think that being leaders is a big thing.
It's a massive characteristic to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You lead by different examples, isn't it?
Exactly.
Talking or playing or running or even off the field.
Some players are quiet though and then get the job done. But
that's leading as well.
I know, yeah.
I can't see Messi in his change room barking orders and stuff like that. Maybe he does, we don't know. Players who played with him can you know, talk on that. But for me, when I look at it, I always think this guy just leads by example.
Yeah.
Trying to be the best player every game. Tuesday, Saturday. He's the best player for 10 years. Training, like stuff like that, just leading by example. I think every team has 2 or 3 of them players, but like you said, I think we're going away from that. To say only 2 or 3, that's a low number. 100%. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's definitely something as youngsters, when the youngsters are coming through now, teach them that or just tell them that you can be an example by doing so many different things. You don't have to be excellent every day.
Again, you don't need to shout to get your point across. If I'm a centre half, I've got to be able to talk to my right back and give him a bit of information. Again, it don't need to be like, rah, rah. It's like, look, get yourself tucked in. Like, again, all the best ones, especially when I was coming through, they would manage you for a game. I was a young lad in the first team at 18, and the right back or the left back, whatever side I was playing on, they'd practically talk you through the game.
Talk me through the game, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, just go left for me here, like cover this in. Totally. Yeah, exactly. You know, it helps your game out. Do you know what I mean? And it helps them out. And it might be a right back who wasn't blessed with pace, so he knows he needs to get me in the best position so we don't get exposed. So again, I think that's an area that we are going away from. I don't see a lot of it in the youngsters that I've come across now.
I agree with you, yeah.
And again, it's something that even in training should be encouraged. And you know, it shouldn't matter that you're, you know, Nigel Reo-Coker I played with at West Ham. He came into the first team at Wimbledon as a kid. He was a couple of years below me, and he will speak to a first team player exactly how he'd speak to me as one of his youth team friends that come through with him. And straight away you see people going. And again, it wasn't like digging them out, but if someone weren't tracking back, or it'd be like, right, get your... And they looked at him and was like, right, this guy's 17, but he's not afraid to do that. You know, and then people look at him as a leader or, you know, a captain or whatever it is. And you can really impose yourself on a group by just doing that and being...
No, that's an important message for youngsters. I think that's excellent.
Don't be afraid when you come into the first team environment. To be fair, when I was a young lad, you probably say your first team environment, you're always scared of the first team. But like 100%. Nowadays, I don't think the younger lads are scared of the first team. Nothing at all.
I've seen youngsters trip up first team players in the canteen. I can't believe it. Honestly, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Who was that?
I don't want to say names. Clamps.
I do think the social aspect as well. And again, I came through at a time I call it lucky that I didn't have Facebook and Twitter, and I come in a change room now. It's one of my biggest bugbears in football, and I literally, we've like come in the morning, zombies, go out, train, or like they should be in the gym just doing a little bit of extra work or whatever, but they're just on their phone, not doing nothing, scrolling. And then I'll come in after training, and it's almost like, mate, we've been out there for an hour and a half. Like, you are not going to miss anything. But straight away, it's like, so again, rather than coming and listen, I'm not all for like just football. There do have to be a break. But when you're in a training ground or you're at your work, for me, the focus should be on your work. So even as coming in, like, Frank, man, like you're finishing today, like whether it's good, bad, indifferent, have a chat about it. The session, do you know what I mean? The game on Saturday, like, what did you think? Like, again, they're things that we used to do. You know, if I was ever around a first team player, I'd be literally like trying to get every little bit of information I could from them. And they wanted that and they loved it. I love that now when a young kid says, like, what do you think about me in training? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
and it helps you out as well. When they pass you the ball, they feel like they're passing to someone that wants to do well.
Exactly.
And taking things in. I know you played at Watford, obviously. You too.
Yeah, we played at Watford, that's what I'm saying. Like, from one of the games, like, I would say, well, I was once to talk about the playoffs, especially. I think when you was at Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scenario where Darius Henderson, obviously I think the game was 3-0.
The
touchline was he was holding Fitzpatrick.
I
remember that. I was telling him it was a car. I don't remember the full story, but I said, I think it was 5 subs.
You not watched the video back now?
Nah, I haven't watched the video. But
there's a video there.
Funny. But I remember, as a young lad, obviously, I think I was about 17 or I think I was 16 or 17.
Yeah.
He had 2 players like that, and I was thinking, rare.
Well, I've got to be honest, Watford, again, having played against them that year and then moved there the year after, in terms of physically imposing teams, they were up there for me in terms of like, you look through like Danny Shittus, Marlon Harewood, we weren't Marlon Harewood, Marlon King, sorry, played with Marlon at West Ham. Again, aggressive, do you know what I mean? Hendo, Clark Carlisle,
Jay Merritt, Malcolm Mackay, Doyley, mate.
Oh, that was only one team, was it? Yeah.
And it was...
That's a Man Mountain. That's the original stuff.
And it was all about, you know, that be aggressive and intimidating. And but that incident in particular, we were 3-0 down, like we messed it up in the first leg. And then I think, obviously, AD had the ball on the touchline. He was trying to hold it. So then Fitz has gone to like, get the ball off him. And then it's all kind of just kicked off. So then Darius, obviously, who like, didn't mind a bit of...
He loves it,
yeah,
mate.
Yeah.
MMA and all that.
Literally like holding two
big
like
boys. He's talking about big players like your size.
Sawsey tried to get, like Tom Sawsey. He was a young lad at the time.
Yeah, but
I think he was just getting held off. Like.
Holding him. So Jobi, growing up, what was it like? Who inspired you to play football? What was your way into football, I would say?
Well, my biggest idol, I suppose, growing up was John Barnes, actually. Obviously, being born in Jamaica. My dad's Jamaican, obviously.
Frank's best friend, that is John Barnes.
Oh, really, yeah? Well, he used to be not my best friend, but I used to quite like him as well. Yeah, obviously watching him, again, playing for England, playing for Liverpool, who I support, you know, he was certainly somebody that, you know, I looked up to and wanted to emulate for sure. As I got a little bit older, so you have like Ronaldo come in, like R9 original, like people like that. But yeah, man, from as long as I can remember, I just play football. If it was on the streets, if it was in the park, if it was at school. And I was, I suppose, lucky enough at the time when I was playing for my school team, I just got scouted by a guy called Clasford Sterling, who basically runs Broadwater Farm Centre. And his son at the time was at Wimbledon Football Club. A guy called Jude Sterling, who actually played for like Luton and a few other clubs over here. And he literally just took me into Wimbledon one day and said, look, have a look at this kid. They were happy with what they saw. I was probably 11, 12. And then managed to work my way through youth teams, reserves, and into the first team there. So
what's been going on around the world with George Floyd, rest in peace. But it's like, for us now, we've had an awakening. I'm thinking about loads of incidences, say, in football, where you're bantering about certain things. But when I was growing up, that was allowed and seen by the older lads. So you think as yourself, as an older lad, it's normal. But now I'm thinking to myself, I've got a responsibility as an older lad myself now, for the younger generation coming up, to not see that as banter. It's a disrespect, straight disrespect. So now, going forward, I've probably said this to you as well, I'm going to try my best to help educate the younger lads and not take anything. Because I remember I said this to you on the phone. I said, like, so it's a disrespect. Obviously, you laugh it off, because like I've had loads of incidents throughout my career. I'm not going to mention it's loads of people in the past where managers and doing little remarks and that, but then you're taking it because it's just you're laughing off about it. But then when you actually deep in it,
but that's why when these incidents happen, Theo, everything kind of comes out. Because you're having to suppress these feelings, these emotions, especially in our industry. We're exactly the same. I've had youth team coaches, I remember clearly, like, they'd come past us, we'd be sitting on a wall like this, all our jobs are done, we're done. And they'd come past, wouldn't there be a grandma walking past you lot? Like, and again, we're like, I knew exactly 16, 17, trying to get a career, trying to make it. And as you say, for us, we're like, well, that's just what it is like. We're not going to be questioning people at that age. Do you know what I'm saying? But they'll also do it in an environment that maybe, again, I was lucky I came through, Marcus Gale was there, Robbie Earl, Jason Ewell, you know, Carl Lieburn, like plenty. And it's not just the black guys that used to look out for us. Neil Ardley, Gareth Ainsworth, like the list, I was blessed to come through that academy and that football club at that time, where I'm sure if they had heard certain things, but it's almost like people chose their times when to say them things and also chose who they're saying it to.
I've got a situation, I don't know if you know about it, but you know about it. Southend saying, start the season, I didn't hear the abuse, but my family, my nieces, nephews, my cousins, there's about a good 10 of them at the first game of the season, fans shouting abuse at me, racial abuse, whatever. It's going to be going to court we don't know yet. I actually messaged the police like last week just to find out what's going on, because obviously with COVID, it got pushed back. But then it's like, I don't think I've got support from my club. But I've got support from Troy, speaking to him every day, making sure I'm on them, my most days, I should say. And then, but for me, it shouldn't be like that. No. From when it happened, it should have been like, it's not even the fact of the fan that's shouting abuse, it's the people around, the fans. This is what I told you before, I wasn't going to do an event in Southend, but I thought to myself, why am I going to do the event? There's not many black people around there, whereas, well now there is, I've seen living there, but then I'm thinking, why am I going to do an event if one of my own fans is actually racially abusing me? But then it's like, in that sense, the people around shouldn't be allowing that.
Yeah, and again, I think that's where, hopefully, with some of the things that we've seen, there will be a greater awareness of that. And again, that is a prime example of someone who could be in the vicinity, who of course is not racist, and you know, but only by being together on it. You know, you're always going to get that one idiot, always, and we're never going to rid that. I'm sorry, but that's just facts of life. There's always going to be them idiots out there.
Going back a bit, promotions. I would say, got a video to show you.
Oh yeah, you showed me.
I showed this in the car.
Just trying to bring me out here.
No.
It's cringy, I won't lie, but
Look, do you remember this?
What is it?
Get the camera on this. Look.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember this?
Do you want me to talk you through this?
Oh, you talk me through this. Well, obviously, we're both going to playoffs, and you know what I mean. Obviously, we want to just listen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Get the camera on it. No, get the camera on it. Look at the kiss face. Get the camera on this.
I've got to give you a little bit of context, right? Because I've had so many people.
When I see this last night,
I was on the pitch. Like, there's an invasion. Like, how do you know you're not like? So, all right, we're obviously trying to get promoted. I'd tried and failed 4 times. Well, I played my whole career up to that point. I was 31, I think, at the time. So, loads of near misses. 4 playoffs, so 2 semis, 2 finals. The year before that, we lost in the final to Swansea, which was the lowest point of my career. So obviously towards the end of the game, all these guys are on the sideline. They know what's going on. They know what's going on in the other game. Like, all you lot, you know, bro. Like, you're on the pitch and you're focused on. I'm like, we need to win this game, innit? Like, so obviously you can start hearing what's going on and you're getting an idea. I needed to hear the words that you're up or we're up or whatever, just to have that confirmation. So I went, listen, there could be people running past me, didn't care. Someone needs to tell me we're up. So that was my big thing, just going to the sideline, give me that confirmation. Again, like my family were there that day, as they have been throughout all the ups and downs. So I was off, I was gone. Like, as soon as I heard we were off, we were up. Obviously run down and actually found, like my wife was there, my dad, who like, again, followed me around my whole career. So to be there with them that night at home, it was
just special, isn't it?
That's the feeling we want, isn't it?
Yeah. No, even when you show me that video, you see how happy you are.
So they're horrible. It is literally. I mean, we're going back to Palace against Watford, and they're just a different animal to whatever we're used to playing. We're used to playing league games where you go to win the game. So if you're losing 2-0, the manager's going to change it up, bring on some forwards, let's try and win the game. So we had that mentality when we played the playoffs, and it was my I say first proper experience in the sense that I was at West Ham, but I wasn't really part of it. I was on the bench and, you know, but when I was at Palace, it was very much a team that I was a big part of. And we went a goal down to Watford in the first leg at home. And I remember making a couple of substitutions that were very, very attacking, almost like we need to win this game now. And we left ourselves quite open. And then we end up losing 3-0. That's in the first leg.
It's a whole different.
So at 1-0, someone has said, again, for me now as an experience and moving forward, 1 as a player, which I had, and 2 as a manager, hopefully, or coach one day. If someone says to me, you're 1-0 down in the first leg, you've got another leg to go. Of course I want to get back in the game. But I take the 1-0 as a worst case, you've got a whole another 90 minutes.
It's 180 minutes, isn't it?
Going back, losing the other 2 goals because, in my opinion, we were a bit too open. Remember Kingy played that day, and I think Ashley Young was playing. They obviously had a good team, but we threw it away in the first leg.
Obviously, me and you played for Jamaica together. I looked yesterday. You made your debut against Nigeria in 2002. Obviously at Loftus Road, and then 10 years later, I made my debut Mexico game. Obviously, that game where you was 0-0. It was obviously a big game for Jamaica's history. Obviously, World Cup qualifiers. You know what I mean? It was a big thing for me, my debut, and obviously you coming back in as well. We probably could have won the game as well. You missed it up a goal.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm joking.
He would have scored it. I don't think he would have.
I'm joking. Hey, they all count, mate.
It's all right, man. It's all right. I give you credit for goals. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a better player. But, go on, talk. Go on.
Give us obviously I played with you. Give us like the viewers like the insight to like playing for your international football. You know what I mean?
Where do we start? How long we got? We need a whole show just for this video, mate.
I know. Let's summarise it.
Some of the best times of my career came playing for Jamaica. Like we had a great group of lads that used to travel from here that mixed really well with Jamaican boys, and that was something that didn't always happen in, you know, certainly my previous encounter. Where there was actually a fight between the British lads and the Jamaican lads when I first went. Yeah, didn't know that. And it just wasn't, there was no harmony there. The organisation wasn't great. So I kind of was like, listen, let me go off and forge my career. That was end of my first season. I got called up for Jamaica. Obviously wanted to play. But just the other bits around it weren't right at the time. So yeah, we fast forward 10 years. We're going to Mexico. This probably sums it all up, just that one game. So we've got Mexico in the Azteca in a World Cup qualifier on a Wednesday night. We fly out on maybe a Monday. Oh yeah. Right? I bet you even forget this. We have one training session in the stadium the night before the game.
Oh yeah, and we don't know each other. I didn't even know Marvin Elliott. I literally.
And that was the English lad, so you didn't know none of the Jamaican boys. Like.
I had to just literally knock on the door, and he was already in the room sleeping. Right. I remember because I think the flights or whatever from Miami, we stopped off from Miami.
Be on different flights.
Different flights.
Always. And I think people arrive at different times. How about we didn't have anyone to meet us? We were on our flight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We get to Mexico City, right? Bunch of green English-looking guys, and. Literally, there's no one there to meet us from. So we're now trying to sort our own travel arrangements out from there to get to the hotel. So we're like, mate, we're driving through Mexico City.
Mexico
you
City,
see like Man on Fire and all that.
Yeah.
Like them kind of places. So we're like, we just need to get to the hotel here.
It was late as well, you know.
Then the Jamaican delegation roll in at whatever time. Like, oh, you lot got here like. I'm thinking, mate, no other federation in the world would leave their players to get to a hotel, having just flown from London to Mexico with a World Cup qualifier in 3 days or 2 days. So I remember we trained the Tuesday night, and I was like, I remember sharing with Gareth McCleary, I'm like, mate, we're going to get battered, mate. Like, we're playing against the best team in our region by a mile at their stadium.
Yeah. And the prep is horrendous.
Prep is horrendous. Somehow, and this was again really a common factor in somehow how well we did at that time. Things just clicked, man, because we had such a good group. Everyone got on. You know, we had enough, in my opinion, of us that were, I suppose, brought that professional side, that organisational side that it was lacking at the time. And combined with the ability, the talent that the Jamaican boys have got, we just found a way to pull off a result, which again, it was the first time Jamaica had ever got a point in Mexico. But again, it comes back to, for me, when I look back on that time, overall I'm disappointed. Because what the talent pool is, the amount of players we've got, even without the resources that America have got, Mexico, Costa Rica qualify for the World Cups every time. We should be the next team. But we're not, because of a lot of the stuff that goes on.
Didn't we draw against, we should have beat Costa Rica as well.
Costa Rica, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But again, a lot of that
they
is
were
lack
going
of
to the World Cup.
lack of organisation, lack of professionalism that needs to change to bring us forward. And I think if we can do that moving forward in the future, then there's no reason why Jamaica can't qualify for World Cups.
Talk to me about your experiences through the Caribbean Cup and the Copa America and the Gold Cup. Well, obviously I wasn't involved in that time, but we've been in the same team.
Why were you involved?
Pardon me.
Change of management.
Change of management, but
I got it on that. Leave it at that.
That's what I tell my missus all the time. Managers change. Don't fancy me.
Hey, if you're listening, Tapper, hey, anyone, Federation, I'm available, mate. Scored 12 goals this season, 20 games. I'm here. Well, let's talk about me. Hey, let's talk about JOBI.
Yeah, man, we had some good times. Again, it was a good squad, good togetherness. Again, winning the Caribbean Cup, which for Jamaica is a big deal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We want to be the best team in the Caribbean, especially when you're playing against your rivals, which is Trinidad for us. We beat them in the final. And then obviously going on to the Copa America, which we got invited to the first year. playing against Argentina and Uruguay.
What was it like playing against them? You know what I mean? Them players, obviously Messi. You know what I mean? I seen the pictures and I was thinking to myself, boy, I'm missing out on this.
Yeah.
It's just the highest of highs, though.
That is.
But this is what I'm trying to say, and I'm
playing
thinking
for your country and you're playing against the best.
This is what I'm saying, and I'm thinking
South America.
I was sitting at home. But I was staying up at night watching the games, and still going to support the boys, innit? And it is what it is. But in my head, I'm thinking, boy, I could be there.
Well, just watching more to say Al should have been there.
I would have scored that. Should have been, to be fair.
Fair enough.
I'll give him that. Yeah, man. Listen, that's a career highlight for sure. Like, obviously not only playing with him, but managed to get his shirt as well. So that was.
That's unbelievable.
I might rub that.
Nah, that's unbelievable. That's sick.
So yeah, obviously that we were off the back of that, which was a good tournament for us in terms of the calibre of teams we were playing against. We went to the Gold Cup, which is basically our region. So again, you know, we were the first Jamaican team to get to the final. We beat America in the semis in the States, which was obviously a massive deal for Jamaica and all the lads, particularly the ones that were playing over there that don't feel like they perhaps get the respect they should get. So yeah, beating them there. You know, we're playing in the NFL stadiums, 60, 70. I mean, the final was 80 odd thousand, and it's all Mexican. We probably took 150 Jamaican fans, and then you have like 81,000 Mexicans.
Do you remember the Mexico game when it was like the section of the yellow?
Yeah.
It was, I think it was a similar 40, 50.
Yeah.
And literally, it was only the staff. It was only the Jamaica staff.
Yeah.
No fans. That was it.
We don't take a good following.
Literally the staff, and we got a draw. And we're like this, they're like that in the crowd.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, mate,
it's
it
crazy.
was like 78. Wow.
Yeah, we were always the underdogs, which again was why it was such a good time for us, because we always had something to prove, something to go up against, and it was a really good time. It was, for me, one of the most enjoyable periods of my career. I love going away. I'd always look forward to the trips away, and you know, with the boys, and you know,
I mean, going to Jamaica, innit? So
all the places that we were going to.
People go there on holiday.
Yeah, man, really proud, man. Really proud. It was good times.
Yeah, good man.
Right, who is the best? Obviously, you've had a long career, great career, but who was the best player to memory you played against?
Played against?
Yeah, first one. Played against.
Obviously, I've got to throw Messi out there in terms of on a rival team. Obviously, didn't really come that much up against him too much.
Still play against him,
from a
though.
positional point of view, I'd say probably Carl Walker. You know, in terms of if I'm looking at an actual right back.
Yeah, so actually playing against that guy, he was so tough.
Mate, listen, like physically, you know, his attributes are off the chain.
You're not chopping him up now?
What's that?
You're not chopping him up like you used to do?
Listen, you chop them guys, they're recovering, mate. But the difference with him is, and obviously that season, like, and we were poor, we had a bad year. You know, we didn't really go out and try and keep the ball too well, and we submitted a lot of the times to what other teams wanted to do to us. So I spent the game, I remember going out before the game, and the gaffer called me and literally said to me, like, I'm a winger, don't worry too much about going forward today. And I'm like, so we had Carl Walker and Aaron Lennon that day. Gareth Bell's on the other wing. So again, this is just a real insight into the levels. Do you know what I mean? You watch it, you see it, but then when you're out there, I played against Javier Zanetti when I was at Palace, actually, in a friendly, who again, for me, was one of the best right backs, certainly of his generation. So yeah, they're two that I would certainly say.
Zanetti. You should have got the Zanetti top, man.
Yeah, I know. I
should have got that one.
You know, funny, all right, it's a funny story from that. So we obviously played Inter Milan. It was a friendly. So I played with Andy Johnson, who had just got into like the England squad and stuff like that, and he was on fire like in the Championship actually. He scored goals in the Prem before that, and then we kept hold of him. So we get a knock on the door after the game's finished, and it's Marco Materazzi. So we're a bit like, what's the big man wanting here? Like, he like comes in, he says, Johnson, shirt, and then we were like. Marco Materazzi's coming in, asking for AJ's shirt, and AJ's like the coolest guy you're ever gonna meet. Like he's just like Bob. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, go on, mate. Like, have my shirt. And we were all like, what? Like, this is like Italian international. But yeah, so yeah, I'd say probably those two. Yeah, definitely.
Who's the worst player to play against?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Their confidence is already low, so don't need to do that.
Best manager then.
Best manager, I'd have to say, if I've only got to pick one, it's got to be Brendan Rodgers for me.
Yeah.
Just
I've had him as well for a short spell.
Okay.
But I'll let you speak on him. I think he's unbelievable.
Listen, just top level. Again, at that age, again, Watford time when he first came in, for me, at whatever I was, 25, 26, been around the game a bit, played a lot of games. He was showing me stuff new, stuff that I hadn't seen before. You know, the sessions were always perfectly
He had the
planned
best
out.
sessions.
The variation in the sessions, everything had an objective. So it weren't any just amount of times I've done possession drills where it's just possession for the sake of possession. Everything, there was a focus to it, and it was geared up to who would be playing on the weekend. So their left back might be the weak point. So it was designed to be into a session, into an area on the training pitch. Boom, 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 out, and there was always an end goal to it. There was always a focus. And in terms of me as a coach now, session design, planning, that's when I really looked at it as like, it's different to just let's go out and do this or do that. You know, and the big thing with him is he's a brilliant coach, but he's a wicked gaffer as well in terms of he got it. You could chat to him on a level. You know, he understood players.
I was saying to
Did
this.
he get it with you?
No, listen to this. I was telling this in the car. I was playing, obviously, at the time, I was a young lad. I remember like his attention to detail, but obviously as a young lad, you just like.
Hey, that's what I'm going to say there. Attention to detail, I thought was great.
This is what, obviously, now looking, obviously I'm an older player. Back then, like before the warm up, you like mess around, have a little joke, talking and that. I remember I used to hate it, so that's probably one of the reasons why he probably set me off. But I remember you said this, innit? Like his first couple of jobs, he was a bit harsher. That's what you said to the players, innit? But like,
I feel like he came out and said that maybe first
couple jobs, he was a bit.
But then
he was a bit too on it with the boys in terms of maybe just everything in general. He was too. I don't know, maybe his first job, bit of pressure. He might have dealt with it differently. Whereas now, I feel like he's just overall. But even when you had him,
I know
his
management is good.
I think the big thing with him as well, that I certainly found, is he did like to test players and stuff. And he pulled me not long after he came, and I hadn't been playing. And he said to me, like, how do you think you're doing? And I said, yeah, man, I've been doing all right. And he was like, all right. And I was like, yeah, like, again, at the time, championship level player, comfortable, you know. He said, do you want to be all right? Do you want to be average? Like, I see you as being the best player that you, like, one of the best players in the league, and like, no one should be, you know, out assisting you, or you should be scoring goals, you should be doing this. Like, don't be okay with all right kind of thing. And again, I could have easily gone and went, who's this guy? He's just come in the door, no coaching experience, first team level at that point. And I thought, you know what? Like, he's actually right. Do you know what I mean? So I got back in, got my head down. Like, I'm like, right, I'm going to crack on. End up playing a lot of games for him the back end of that season. And I went to Reading with him in the summer. So it was, again, a real big lesson for me of like two ways you can go sometimes. And I think he had to try and put his marker down as a young coach, you know, and I was an experienced player at the time. And it's almost a bit of like, who's with me and who's not. And again, as I've got older, I've seen it from a coach's point of view. That is the most important thing. Are you coming with me? Like,
yes.
Do you know what I mean? I need to win a game.
That's what I was saying to you earlier. That I feel like that's what he was trying to say. Obviously, he's just trying to get a foothold in the game, even though he's got all the ideas and you know everything he wants to do. It's not easy. Football industry is very cutthroat. So he's got to be a certain way, but also try to get your psyche and try to encourage you in a different way.
He was out the gate. He was out of work after 6 months at Reading.
Yeah, he was.
He got sacked.
Early.
And again, I followed his career. I knew he'd go on and be top level because he's a top level coach. But he learnt lessons from that. Do you know what I mean? He didn't come away from that going, I can't believe what happened. Like, he looked at what was good, what was not good, and I think it really shaped him as a coach, as a manager, to go on and do what he's done. So it just goes to show you're going to get disappointments, but it's how you wrap from them and make sure you learn from them.
He had good phrases, man. I remember one thing he said to me is that, don't look a good player, be a good player. So I remember in training, I went on loan to Swansea. This is the year they went up.
Right, okay.
I was there for a month and a half, and I came in, he had me at Chelsea youth team. So he knew me from a kid. And I obviously had good times with him. But I would come in there with an academy mentality, looking to do 1-2s everywhere on the pitch, and have a little laugh, like 1-2, stuff like that. When you're a kid, that's just stuff you buzz off. You don't really buzz off smashing at bins or just scoring a tap in. Like, it wasn't that. You try to do a couple of step overs, make a guy fall over. I used to do that in training all the time, and I had players like Scott Sinclair, Nathan Dyer. And I thought, these boys got bundles of ability, but they're so efficient. Effective, bro.
In,
out, knock it. done.
Gone.
Game over, it's over.
Yeah.
It's done. They're crossing it or they're shooting.
I remember, man.
So I went there, I thought, and then Brendan's manager, and he's telling me, look, do you want to look a good player or be a good one? That always stuck with me.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought to
Something
myself.
like that is a fantastic phrase for any young player. Not even just young player.
Yeah, everyone.
Because I've seen senior players still to this day that want to look a good player. But what are you doing? Is it effective? If you're a striker, are you scoring goals? Are you making runs that are hurting opposition? If you're a defender, are you blocking? Are you tackling? Are you, again, come back to Lloyd Doyley. For what anyone ever said about him, and again, he's someone, Brendan, so there would be a perception of Lloyd as a fantastic defender, one of the best one-on-one defenders I've ever played with or against, but he can't pass the ball. Brendan comes in, and because of the sessions he's doing, there would be sessions that are designed to help improve Lloyd, but he'd dress it up that it wasn't just that. And the improvement he made in that time, 6 months, it was phenomenal. So again, that was a big thing for me. Coaching is not just about coming in and getting a team ready. You can develop players, even senior players, you can improve them. And I've seen that, and that was the big eye-opener for me at that stage, that I thought, nah, this is...
No, from my point of view, like, obviously looking back now, you think to yourself, you look at it, attention to detail, this and that. It's mad, like, when you're younger, you just think, oh, you know what you mean, but now you think about it, it's actually crazy. Do you know what I mean?
It's important, man.
Do you know what I mean?
You live and learn.
You live and learn, and you give it, it's my next question probably would say, you've like the similar thing we're probably all talking about now. That's probably the advice that we probably pass on to the younger generation because this is what we've all been through and what we've learned of. You know what I mean? But going on, what would you say? What your worst manager then? Obviously, Brendan's a brilliant guy.
I think worst manager's a hard one because everyone's got their strengths and their weaknesses. My big thing is always taking, even some of the best managers I've played for, there's bits I wouldn't take with me if I'm going into management. Do you know what I mean? And that's where you just got to work out. The one I just never ever clicked with at all was Alan Pardew. Obviously went to West Ham as a younger lad. Again, I felt like he just wasn't really having me at the time, if I'm being honest. And I think we've all played for gaffers that there's just something in the back of their mind where they're not convinced of you, and I obviously didn't do enough to convince him. And I just, it was a weird vibe, man. I got there and second half of the season, so the team was quite settled, trying to get in the playoffs. He was under massive pressure to get West Ham up, massive pressure. So that part of it, I was like, all right, cool, I'll play my role, be on the bench majority of the time, try and have an impact when I do come on. Started 1 or 2 games, not many. Then the second season, I was there. Basically, after that year, we lost in the final, and he was basically saying, you'll get a chance next season. Come back ready, come back. So I came back, I was on it, whole of pre-season, thinking I'll get a chance. First game comes, and I was just like...
In the stands?
No, I was on the bench, but I played all the pre-season games.
Yeah.
And then we signed Sergei Rebrov from Spurs, who was a striker, and he'd been playing Marlon Harewood as a winger who wanted to play up front. So he was like, I want to play up front now. So that was the thing for me, like, right, Marlon's going to go up front, great. I'll get a chance on the wing. Then he buys a striker and then plays him on the wing. And then they're the things you got to read between the lines and start saying. And again, it weren't I said to him, I want to go and play football. I'd come off the back of playing for Wimbledon for 2.5 years, week in, week out. We were still in the Championship. So of course it was a big club, but the level was comfortable for me. I just felt he might have felt at that age, for me, the club was bigger than I could deal with, which I didn't feel. And again, people that ask me, you moved around loads like early on in the season, early on in your career. And obviously you want to go somewhere, you want to settle, you want to put roots down. And I had that at Wimbledon, obviously having come through, but we were in big trouble. So again, we sold the likes of Nigel Reo-Coker, Damien Francis, who went on to play in the Premier League for Norwich, and a couple of others, Mikel Ledgerwood, Patrick Adjaman. Like, they were all players that came through the system. So we could have had a wicked team. But because of the administration, Nigel Reo-Coker's another one, obviously, we all got sold on. West Ham, it's funny enough, because when I did want to leave, I said I wanted to go on loan, because I didn't want to leave West Ham fully, because it was a massive club, and there's so many good lads there, and he said, look, we need a bit of money in to get another player in, so if you do leave, it's got to be on a permanent. And I was like, it was a hard decision at that age, you know what I mean? But ultimately I wanted to play, so went and moved, and then had a good season at Cardiff, really enjoyed it, and then got a call in the summer saying Palace are interested. So obviously, listen, I was happy in Cardiff, I weren't looking to come back, but it was back to London, and then Cardiff phoned me and basically said, listen, we need the money. So,
your biggest regrets in football, would you say?
definitely not staying in the Prem longer than a season. That was, for me, something I look back on now. And I look at the attitude of clubs that go up now, and it's different. You know, I look at a Bournemouth that go up, and they're like, yeah, we've been promoted, but we're coming up here to keep the ball, which is the biggest thing you have to be able to do. You know, I think probably barring Burnley in recent times, there's not many teams that go up that are not capable of keeping the ball and survive. It's a very simple thing, but like I said, we were in games. We never got smoked. Like maybe once or twice. I remember playing Spurs, which was a bit mad. Arsenal at Emirates one day were just like, they're the days you come off and you're like, you can hold your hands up because they're better players. There's no shame in saying, you know, Santi Cazorla's better than our central midfielder or Theo Walcott's better than me. Like, that's a fact. That's the reason they play where they play, week in, week out. Other than that, we were in games and it would be a screamer from nowhere that only happens at that level. You don't happen in the Champ, don't happen in League One, League Two. And you're coming off going, we've been all right, like 80 minutes or like, do you know what I mean? And I remember going to Man City with 0-0, and this was a proper backs to the wall job, like backs to the wall. Like it was they would say they battered us for the whole game. We would say, again, against a far superior team, we just need to go and defend and see it out. 90th minute, we're there, we're like, right, see it out. I think we gave away maybe a set piece and back post, one of the players, Nicky Shaw, he was brilliant for us when he come back, just switched off a little bit, back post, comes in, and again, lower down, they probably don't have that desire to keep going, do you know what I mean? Like, and punish that mistake as severely. And I remember coming off the pitch just going, like, what have we got to do to get a flipping result here? Do you know what I mean? And it was a hard season, having tried so hard to get there for so long and be buzzing to be there, and I didn't enjoy it a great deal. You know, I still enjoy going Anfield and Man United and Man City, and especially captain teams, and obviously the odd results that we did get that were good. But it was a struggle, man, and I'm just disappointed we didn't make more of a fist of it as a club. We didn't really invest. We didn't really have a real go at getting players in who, again, were a level up from we were as players, and we would have accepted that. Do you know what I mean? If we got 3 in that were proper Premier League quality, that you know what you're going to get game in, game out.
Consistency,
Because then that takes everyone else's levels up.
It helps everyone.
So instead of being 1 central midfielder or 2 that we've got that know they're going to play, a centre midfielder comes in who's better than what we've got. Then the other 2 go, boy, we need to step up. But I just never felt, we weren't good enough. Like, I've got no regrets about going down in the sense that we weren't hard done by. I just thought we could have maybe give it a bit of a better bash. Like.
You know, when you was younger, Wimbledon, I know it's a bit off subject, you could have went to Portsmouth in the Premiership season. Harry Redknapp. What was your mind in that? Because obviously that would have been you playing in the Premier younger age. Then.
So that was
saying you played with Reading at 31.
Well, exactly. It took all that time to get there. And again, that was a bit of a mad one because we were in administration. So again, I get a call from an agent. People were literally leaving every day. Like my boys that I'd come through the system with, like we didn't really know what was going on. We'd get a phone call, or one of my mates would get a phone call. Right, I'm going Sheffield United, or I'm going Norwich, or I'm going. Like it was literally day to day. Like
mad,
going and someone wasn't there.
We're gonna get them calls in the summer.
I mean, I've got a few calls.
I've got a few, mate. I'm just saying, innit?
That is mad though.
It's mad. It is mad.
Yeah, so I'll get a call saying, right, Portsmouth, it's all done. You and Nigel Reo-Coker, double deal. Harry Redknapp's, it's all done. Like we're going down to meet him. So we go down, meet him. Contracts there. I'm like wicked. Wimbledon apparently have accepted it all, so it's done. I've shaken hands, everything. Like, so obviously I had to go and finish up at Wimbledon in my viewpoint. So I go back in to like get all my bits and that, and then the gaffer at the time was like, "You're not going anywhere." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Do you know what they've offered?" And I was like, "Nah, that's not my business, mate." Like, and he's like, basically administrators had accepted, which at the time apparently was like derisory amount of money, but they're just seeing it as like it's money. They're not looking at it as it's like maybe the 2 of the bigger assets at the time. We can get more later on down the line, and they just squashed it, man.
See, when it's mad like football, then say that then like you know, but some saying you got no control over your career. When they say that the Lara Taylor incident now, he's got control over what he's doing, obviously, but people are batting him about him. You know what I mean? But it's mad, isn't it? How?
Think about that.
Lara Taylor in particular.
Yeah, that particular situation.
I understand 100% where he's coming from, and until you're in that situation, listen, everyone's going to have an opinion, of course, but I see it as, again, someone who's been lucky enough to do the job I've done, to avoid injuries and have the career I've done. It's one career, man. Like, you're one tackle away from lights out, you know, like, and of course people will say he should play on, and there'll be a lot of players that would play on. Do you know what I mean? And it's different mindsets. Again, he's had injury troubles, like, so he might be seeing it as this is his last. And again, this ain't just Lyle Taylor one season at Charlton. This is Lyle Taylor a career trying to get there. So I put myself in that situation that maybe at that point in time where I've tried for 10, 11, 12, that's professional. We're not talking about youth team, reserves, all the way through where your aim and ambition is to get to that Premier League. That's what kept me going. A lot of dark days where I'm thinking I'm not going to get there. You have to have that focus. So listen, this is a freak season.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
He would have played the rest of the season.
Yeah.
No doubt about it if we didn't have all this. The fact that we've had the break and now it's come up how it has, it just puts him in a bad situation. But I don't begrudge him at all. I get the fans' perspective 100%, and I would never say you shouldn't think like that because they've never been in this situation. You know what I mean? But do I get his stance? Of course I do. And listen, he deserves it in terms of what he's done, for that football club.
Definitely.
And,
your best moment in football then? I said that's just the last question.
Best moment as a footballer, definitely my debut, just in terms of working towards it. Once that was out of the way, then my promotions, definitely with Reading, after so long. Playing for Jamaica, of course, against Messi as a standout one moment. And my promotion at Orient as well, man, definitely. Anytime you get promoted, you win leagues, you're the best team that season, you know, everything that goes into it, you know, they would be my things. I know you lot probably normally talk a little bit more. I hope I haven't taken up all your airtime on this episode.
Nah,
it's been brilliant.
This is a.
Plus, you're the first person on the other side of actually just being a player that we've spoken to as well.
Cool.
So we wanted to give you the most green light as possible.
But this is The Ball Don't Lie. I'm Theo Robinson.
Frank Newblake.
And we had a special guest, player coach, JOBI MCANUFF, Malvin.